Welcome back to the Thiepval Memorial. We've been here a couple of times recently, and today we are carrying on. This is part 3 of Stories from Thiepval, telling the incredible story of some of the men who are named on this memorial right here. So part 3 of the stories of the men named here on the Thiepval Memorial to the missing. Like we talked about in our previous parts to this series, there are 72,000 names on this memorial. In each video we can only tell a few of them, just a handful of the 72,000 missing men from the Battle of the Somme who are named right here. Let's go up there, find a few of these names and share their stories. So the next man we're here to visit, about halfway up this panel, is Second Lieutenant Augustus Andrew Dena. He was a second lieutenant with the 9th Battalion of the York and Lancaster Regiment. He was killed on the 7th of June 1917. A couple of months earlier, on the 21st of March 1917, he's written a letter to his wife with the instruction, "Please forward if I am killed." Augustus Andrew Dena knew there was a chance that he could be killed, and as such he wrote that letter to his wife in March 1917 in case. In June 1917 that letter was going to be needed, and it was sent to his wife. It read, "My darling Edie, I'm writing these few lines to you as I go to my regiment in the line, not knowing what may be before me, though I have prayed that I may be restored again to you. I feel I should like to write a few lines to let you know my thoughts are of you and the little ones. Should the worst happen, dearest, be brave and try to see it was for the best. Kiss the little ones for me and tell them that my last wish was that they should always look after you. As for you, dearest, you've been a better wife to me than I could have ever hoped or deserved. Your love was so true, it has been my greatest comfort during these trying times. And I know it has been a comfort to you to know that my love for you has been no less. No two have spent a happier 10 years than we. Let these thoughts, dearest, strength and comfort you in the future. May God protect you and the little ones. With fondest love from your ever-loving Gus." It's a tough read. A tragic letter sent home to his wife in case he was killed. He was killed in June 1917, aged 38 years old. His body was never recovered, and he's named here on the Thiepval Memorial. Now, out here to the front of the memorial is beautiful. You can see the view, and you've got the French-British cemetery. But what you do also have here is some panels on this side of the memorial which actually are very inaccessible because they're very high up and you are positioned right down low. The second man we've come to talk about is on one of these panels, so you will have to deal with me telling his story from down here. So up here on panel 4C ahead of me, we have the name of Alexander Young VC, served with the 4th Regiment of the South African Infantry. Now you note the VC, that's because he was the recipient of the Victoria Cross. Now, he was actually awarded that VC for action during the Boer War, and his citation reads, "Towards the close of the action at Reuter's Kraal on the 13th of August 1901, Sergeant Major Young, with a handful of men, rushed some Kopjes, which were being held by the Boers. Sergeant Major Young then galloped on some 50 yards ahead of his party, and closing with the enemy, shot one of them and captured Commandant Erasmus, the later firing at him 3 times at point-blank range before being taken prisoner." Now, if you watched my video on Delville Wood, it might not surprise you, considering he was part of the South African Infantry, to hear that Alexander Young served during the Battle of Delville Wood. Like so many thousands of men, he was injured in that battle and actually spent some time in England recovering from his wounds. He returned to France in September 1916. And he was killed soon after, here at the Somme, in October 1916. His body was never recovered, he was missing, and as such he's named here on the Thiepval Memorial. We're actually going to spend the rest of this video, this part of this series, taking a look at names. They're not individual men, they are sets of brothers named here on the Thiepval Memorial. We've got 4 sets of brothers we're going to talk about. First of all, we're going to find the names of the Low brothers who served with the Worcestershire Regiment. Now, sadly, the first set of brothers we're going to talk about are right up high on this panel, so we can't get much of a close look at their names. But if you've got a keen eye, you might be able to see up there C.H. Lowe, that's Charles Henry Lowe, and Harvey James Lowe. So H.J. Lowe up there on the panel. Both men were killed on the 20th of July 1916, here on the Somme, whilst building a communication trench between La Rochelle and Pozières. They were the only sons of James and Lucy Lowe of Worcester, who also had one daughter. Both enlisted in Worcester and went to France in April 1915, and their platoon commander wrote, "In these two, I have lost two of the best men in my platoon. They were popular with their comrades, always cheerful and fearless, and their loss is deeply felt both by me and their comrades. We were digging a trench between the old German front line, and they were hit almost simultaneously by German shells. Their deaths were instantaneous and painless. They died for the old country on a victorious battlefield, and although your loss is terrible, it is something to be justly proud of." So the next brothers we're going to visit are the Cooper brothers, Samuel and Lawrence Cooper, both killed on the 1st of July, the opening day of the Battle of the Somme, and they were both killed by the same shell. Now, sadly, the Cooper brothers are not only fairly high up on the panel, they're actually on panels which are fairly, I don't know if they're worn as such, but they're very difficult to read from down here. But nonetheless, the two Cooper brothers, Private Lawrence Cooper and Lance Corporal Samuel Cooper, both with the 9th Battalion of the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry, aged 20 for Lawrence and 23 for Samuel. Both were killed on by the same shell on the 1st of July during fighting at Fricourt. Comrade wrote, "They were well respected by their comrades and platoon officers. Both of them were killed instantly by the same shell." So the next man that we've come to visit is J.A. Williams. That's James Alfred Williams. Now, he's not named here on the memorial with any of his brothers, but he did have multiple other brothers who served in the war. So the four Williams brothers, James, Harold, Charles and Ernest, all joined up like so many men to come and play their part and fight in the Great War. Only one of those four brothers was going to survive, and that was Harold Patton Williams. James Alfred Williams, named here on the Thiepval Memorial to the Missing, was killed on the 6th of September 1916 during a night patrol between Guillemont and Ginchy. He was only 18 years old. His brother, Captain Charles Beasley Williams, was killed on the 28th of August 1915, only 20 years old. His body was also lost, and he's named on the Menin Gate Memorial. Their other brother, Ernest Joseph Williams, lieutenant with the Royal Irish Rifles, died on the 15th of October 1918, right towards the end of the war. He is buried in the Dadazeel New British Cemetery. Four brothers came to the Great War. Only one went home. Now that's actually fairly similar to the next story that we're going to be telling of brothers named here on the Thiepval Memorial. So here on the memorial you can see two of the Hobbs brothers, Andrew and David Hobbs. Further up the panel, because he's a sergeant, you can see where it's right up the top, but Robert Hobbs. And then a fourth brother as well, Herbert Hobbs. The four Hobbs brothers we're going to go over the top together. Herbert, Andrew, David and Robert Hobbs with the Royal Irish Fusiliers. They were going to attack just down kind of in the Ancre Valley sector of the Somme front line on the 1st of July 1916, the first day of the Somme. So many men went over the top and attacked in that area, and so many were lost, never to be seen again. Amongst the missing on that day were all four of the Hobbs brothers. Now, we've made a whole video about this. I really recommend you go and check it out. But of the four Hobbs brothers, men went out during the night, stretcher bearers, trying to bring back wounded men from no man's land. Late on in the night, a man was brought in with machine gun wounds to his legs. That lucky man was Herbert Hobbs. He would go on to survive his wounds and survive the war and go home. But he went home on his own. All three of his brothers were never seen again. That's why Andrew, David and Robert Hobbs are named here on the Thiepval Memorial to the missing. I recommend you go check that one out. It's the last of the brothers that we're going to talk about in this episode of Stories from Thiepval, but I did do a full video about it. I really recommend you go check it out. And in fact, I'll link it in the description below. So that concludes part 3 of Stories from Thiepval. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one as we continue to tell some of the stories and, more importantly, continue to remember some of the men who are named here on the memorial. Just a few names from the 72,000 men that are named on this memorial. A series which you've enjoyed making today, and I'm going to carry on doing it. Hopefully we'll get a few of these episodes every time I'm here on the Somme. If you did enjoy it, do me a favour, do all the YouTube stuff right here on the screen for me, and make sure you let me know in the comments. That makes a big difference here on the channel, and I really do appreciate all of you guys who do that. In the meantime, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.